Hello my crafty friends, Corrine here from Corrine Crafts. I hope you are well. Well, I have got the most beautiful card for you today. Look at this. Now, I have made a very slight change to it since it was recorded. It now has the silver layer under there. It's very, very minimal, but it just works for me. I just needed to do it. But look at that. I'm going to show you how to make, look at that, this beautiful blue flower. It's quite ornate. It's quite a busy one, but it's so beautiful. I mean, look at how much dimensions that. Who wouldn't love to receive this? And do you know what? I think this design could be taken outside of Christmas as well. You could turn this quite easily into a birthday, into an anniversary, into a wedding card, all those things. So I'm going to get straight on and show you how I created this. So one thing I've tried to do with these videos is try to bring you lots of different coloured projects. So one of the last ones I've done red and white. I've done all sorts of different colours, craft coloured ones. But today I thought we'd go with this lovely sort of Air Force blue. Blue, white and silver I thought would be our colour theme. So I've cut this out and it's 4 1/4 by 4 1/4. That's going to be my topper. That's going to be the highest level of big card. So it's going to be that. And my card base is just a regular pre-bought 6 3/4 inch square card. One for a 7-inch card base. And I've just put some more of that blue on there. I actually could have cut that out of there if I'd thought on. And I've cut out the centre so that I don't waste the card. So that is what we've got. So I thought onto there, I did and ah about doing this with a embossed piece. So I embossed a piece like this, but actually it started to get a bit too busy. So I'll save that and use that on another project. So I'm going to pop a plain white piece on and you can see why I've really kept, I'm going to keep that border really fine. Hence why I've taken the centre out. Otherwise, that's an awful lot of wasted card. You don't have to take the centre out or gut your card, as they call it. But if I remember and I get a chance and it's big enough, I often do, because then that piece can go in my scrap box. This project uses so many embellishments, and all of those can come out of those bits, so we can do that. So you can see it's a really, really fine border. I had a bit of a chunkier border, but it just didn't work. So yeah, this works for the elegance and the fineness, you know, the thin borders. So we're going to pop that onto there like that. And then, as I showed you, this is going to be my topper. So I might actually even just put that straight on. I should have done this before. And I'm going to put some foam tape onto there. So what have I done with my scissors? There they are. Let's see where that goes. So I love linen card. Linen card just adds texture, dimension, and that little bit of interest. So really works for me. So let's put that down there. I cut that a little bit big, but we'll use anything that's left over on another bit, and we can put that on there. I might need the foam tape back again in a minute, so we can leave that. So let's just make sure that's pressed down. Scissors out the way. And then we can get my pokey tool, oops, bits are rolling around, and then take that back off. So this is, as always, you know me, it's my sticks to foam tape, which is just brilliant for what I need it to do. Make sure that's square, so then I can grab this and put that in the centre, just like that. That doesn't look bad, does it? Was it a little bit too far over that way? I should have put the glue on, shouldn't I, after all? Let's try that one more time. I think that might be a bit better. Yes, that's better. Right, okay, so that's going down there. So the next thing I want to do is I want to do some decoration, and I've used one of my Jamie Roger Crafts die. So this is, I had it written down somewhere and I've lost where it is. It's the entwined vines. I'll have to have a look, get it, and I'll put it on the screen. So yeah, it's definitely vines, and I've cut it out of silver mirri, so that looks gorgeous. Now you could do all sorts on here. I did look to see if I had a Christmas frame that would work, and I was going to start my card off with that, and I couldn't find one that that was really doing it for me. They were all a bit too busy, and I thought, no, it's good to be a bit distracting. So I'm just going to poke these out of here, and we're going to, in a minute, use these. So we're going to almost create a frame around the project using these, and I think this will work really well. I'll get those little bits out later. So we've got this, and all I'm going to do is, I think this one will look perfect along there, and then I'm going to take this one and I'm going to pop it down there, and I'll think about the others in a minute. So let's just pop those on there, and you'll see why in a minute I'm doing those ones first, and why I'm not putting them right to the very top left hand corner in a minute. So we can put that one just there. Isn't blue and silver gorgeous? I mean, this would look lovely in red and gold, red and green, all those sorts of colours as well. So, you know, just pick your colourway. It looks so pretty in your pinks and your purples, you know, whatever you wanted to do. So let's just, you know me, always give it a good pat down with a cloth. It always works really well. So the next thing I want to do is I want to pop a gorgeous star on there. So now you can see why I thought that would look lovely. How about a couple of foam pads? So let's go one under there. Just I need to be careful where I put them. So let's just put those, let's just do 4 for now, and then it'll sort itself out. Yeah, I think those will do. So let's put those 4 on. Oops, and I didn't press them down. Dear me, these aren't very good, are they? Wow, didn't expect it to do that. I hope it's going to hold it once it's on the card. Let's make sure it's burnished properly. Maybe it was me, workman, not the tools. So I want to put that, so I'm not going to go off the card, but I'm going to go right off that topper. Now, that looks lovely, but I think we could put an embossed one on there. Now, rules about embossing and die cutting. So I've die cut the star. I just used, these are the 2 of my stars that I used. That one's for the large one, that one's the small one. Always die cut first and then emboss. It's a simple rule. Otherwise, if I emboss a larger piece and then die cut that out, all I would do is flatten that die cutting. So we don't want to do that. So it's always die cut first, emboss second. It's a bit like, you know, maths, you have certain rules. In crafting, you have certain rules, and it's die cut and then embossing. So there we go, and that just lifts that. This is why I think when I did the embossing underneath here, it just looked too much. Isn't that beautiful? Now I need some statement piece on there, so let's just put that out of the way. Isn't that looking pretty? Really, really pretty. I'm going to be putting small bits down here, and I definitely think I need something down here, like just to add that little bit of detail. I'll have to work out how I'm going to do that in a minute. Right, let's put that out of the way, and I'll show you what I've done. So I've got my largest poinsettia die. You can see these things are always me thinking as I go, and I've cut it out of some silver, but it's more of a paper than a card. Let's move that because it's confusing. So I've cut it 3 times out of the paper, and I'm just going to shape it. Now normally I would add my inks first, but because it's a metallic paper, my inks weren't sticking if I tried to shape. So I thought I would shape first and then colour. So we're just going to add some more colour, which is not something you usually do when you've got like a metallic, but I thought I'd give it a go. Let's give it a go and see how it goes. So let's do where it's going to be shaped. Like that. And then I'm going to have a go with a quick dry ink. So I purposely do quick dry to try and make it not smudge. And then I'm just going to flick that down here, trying to do it. There we go, look at that. So I'm still sticking to that lovely blue and silver. Oh, it's going up my nails, never mind. Silver. Now remember, it always needs to go further than you think. It once you put it all together. And I really shouldn't have done this on this mat, but never mind. There we go. Right, I'm going to leave that like that. I just realised I was going to put some silver under that. I've even cut it. Oh, that's annoying. I was going to put some silver under there. That would have looked really nice as well. And that's probably, yeah, that's stuck down. Well, that's not going to happen now, is it? I'm always doing this, I get stuff together and then I miss it out, but never mind. Right, I've got a sparkle spray. Look at that. Isn't that absolutely gorgeous? Lovely blue sparkle spray. Silver sparkle spray, anything would have done. And then you can just spray on to there. Now I need to be as minimalist as I can with these. So all I'm going to do is grab my tweezers. Ideally, you want to leave those to dry. But doesn't that look fantastic on the silver? I think that looks lovely. I'm just going to press a little bit in the centre. You can see it just comes off at the moment, so we just need to be careful. I'm going to grab my glue gun, which I've got nicely warming up, and I'm going to pop a little bit of hot glue in there, and then I'm going to stagger, trying not to touch too much, and then stagger again. See where there's a gap, can put that like that. Grab my pokey tool, not pokey tool, ball tool, and then I'm just going to hold it just like that. And then we need to find a gem, and I've just found that little sparkly gem, and I think it's going to pick up the blues, so we can put a nice blob of glue in there to fill that little hole. I'm going to pick up my gem, oops, and pop it into there. I'm trying to do as much as I can not to touch while it dries, and that will be my flower. Isn't that gorgeous? Now, good normal TV fashion, here's one I've already made. So this one I'm going to pop to dry. There we go. And this one has dried. It hasn't taken long, but doesn't that look beautiful? The blues and the silvers. And I'm going to bring that in. I'm really annoyed now at having cut myself a matte layer, but I've forgotten to put it on. Yeah, it's not going to work. There's not a lot I can do about that. Nope, stop fretting about it, Corrine. It's not going to happen. So I can pop that, I'm going to pop that right in the centre of there. But before I do that, now I could go with, I've kept my hot glue gun on. This is going to be quite OTT. Found myself some silver thread. And again, did I want to do that? No, I'll do it under here. So what I might do is get a little bit of hot glue and put that in the centre there. And then I can capture the end. And then while it's still nice and hot, I can just... Now you could do this with your 3D glue, but it's not going to hold it as tight. And I think the wet glue, the hot glue, is just going to allow me to be a little bit more elaborate. See, it's starting to dry off. So I need to go quick. Don't worry about glue strings. We thought we were about glue strings at the end. Let's just keep pressing that down. Let's just add some more loops. Just adding loops in. Now that's starting to dry out, so let's just put another little bit of hot glue across there. Oops. Is that hot glue not holding? Don't worry about what it looks like underneath, because this is going to be underneath the flower, so no one's going to see. Come on, Corrine, what are you doing? You're getting it stuck. It's now completely stuck to my nail. There we go. I've got a lot of loops down there. Could do some more loops up at the top. Oh, got some glue. Let's go with another little bit of hot glue. The thing is, every time you put hot glue on, it actually melts the hot glue that's underneath, so don't worry about it too much. Let's just put that on. We can press that into the hot glue. There we go. And got nothing out this side now. It's all moved. Let's put one more on, and then I can cut it, because I've made a bit of a hash of that, but never mind. So let's cut that like that. It will look right in a minute. I'm going to take the hot glue out of the way. You can probably still see the wire, but never mind. So my flower is going to go on there, but I've also cut out lots of other bits. I've cut out this one. I don't know where this one's from. I've actually damaged this die. It's got a bit missing. but it still does what I need it to do. So I think what I might do next is put this bit on, and that's going to go just there, and then that will allow me to start popping all of these little extra bits in as well. So I've got foliage. Sometimes these are a little bit too big, and the wet glue means I can keep moving it around. This is quite OTT, but that's what I wanted. What else have I got? Oh, I made these. You've seen me do these out of my favourite die that I made years ago, and I've just put little bits of silver on. So I've got those. What else have I got? I've got some holly. Oh, I've got some stars, but the stars are for in a minute. So let's see what we can do with these. Let's pop. Oh, I've got bits everywhere sticking to me. It's very real, my videos. They're not always polished. They're always as you craft. Look at that. Isn't that gorgeous? Like I say, it's extremely OTT, but that was what I wanted. I wanted a really elaborate flower. There we go. Let's pull that out. There we are. And then let's just put a couple of holly leaves in. That can go on top. So we've mixed white and silver and blue. Isn't this beautiful? Really, really pretty. Do you know what? This silver thread only arrived today. Didn't think I'd be using it this quick. But then once it arrived, I was like, oh, that's really going to work. And then I need to fill up my syringe, don't I? Look at that. Just about empty. There we go. Right. So that's looking so OTT. I've done myself a sentiment, and that's my sentiment. That's going to go down there. I've got my stars. So what I could put, let's see if I've got a couple of smaller ones of those flourishes. I've got some smaller flourishes left. Ah, the smaller flourishes. That would work. Oops, stuck in my tweezers. There we go. So if I put a foam pad on there, if I put a foam pad on the back of there like that, making sure it's on this end so that it can come off the edge. I need to put plenty of wet glue on there because I don't want it to stick yet. Put some wet glue on. So the wet glue is just stopping it from sticking. That's going to go like that. Then I can get these flourishes and have them there like that. Then I've got my stars. So I think this is where we can start. I can put, yeah, bigger star there, and I've got some smaller stars. Just random star dies. I'm sure you've got plenty of things like star dies. Tweezers. All I do, take the glue and syringe it and squeeze it straight into the syringe, and then it works like that. And then we can pop a star on there. Just a little bit of height, I think really works. And then we can add a couple of little stars on here. Let's put one down there. What else? I've got another big star, but I don't think I need it. We could try one just here. Or does that one want to, would that look better up there? I think that might look better up there on the white. Now I've taken the embossing off, or not used embossing. Isn't this pretty? Yeah, it might be one of your more elaborate Christmas cards. Maybe, you know, not one that you're doing for, you know, just generally. I think 3 works really well. But I just think it looks so pretty. And then, so let's grab, I've got some silver glitter, which is on there, but it's quite clear. So these are the Pinflair ones. You see, I have Pinflair, I have Cadence, and I have Nouveau. So let's just test it on here. And that had a little bit of a blockage. So this is why I always test on a scrap piece of card first, because that definitely had a blockage. And this is lovely and warm. I've warmed it up. Right, okay. And then I'm just going to randomly put a few little pearls on here. That one doesn't look very good, does it? I can say this is very old. Actually, that's sorting itself out, actually, I think. Let's see if I can get it off. There we go, it's off. Different sizes always look brilliant. Smaller ones and the larger ones, and then some that aren't by the stars and some that are by the stars. So it's not by the stars, I might do 3. Let's do a couple more. You know me, I always like them at different heights, different places, which sometimes gets a little bit harder to do. Let's do a couple under here. There we go. Can't talk and concentrate like that, can I? And let's do one just here. Just randomly putting on little elements just to add a little bit of interest. No, I think that'll do. I think that'll do, because that is very OTT, isn't it? Completely different to the clean and simple ones that I've been doing. But, oh my goodness me, isn't that beautiful? Isn't that stunning? Absolutely gorgeous. I hope you like that. Now, as I said, you know me, I start with these projects. They never come out like I think in my head. This one I forgot to put that matte layer on, but I think it looks all right. I've done plenty more to it to make up for the fact that that matte layer is missing. I should have put them together before the video, but that's my fault. But I still think that looks absolutely gorgeous. I think, you know, the filigree all the way around looks beautiful. I love the flower, just a silver poinsettia and a little bit of embossed. You can't see much of the embossed, but it really, really works, isn't it? I definitely think it was the right thing to do, to go with a white plain white background rather than an embossed background, because that would have just been a little bit too much. There you go. I'm going to leave you there, because I probably talked quite a lot on that one. I've no idea how long it took, but it's a bit more involved. But I think it was worth it because it looks beautiful. So as always, please leave me a comment and tell me what you think. I will link to another video on the left. I will link to my subscribe button on the right. I'd love to for you to leave me some comments. And as always, there'll be links down in the description down below for you to click on. And anything you click on really does help and support my channel. So thank you very much. And I'll be back with another video very soon. Few more Christmas ones, not too many. We'll see if we can pull out some really good special ones between now and then. So until then, my crafty friends, you take care. I hope you've enjoyed this. Leave me a comment, let me know what you think, and I'll see you all again soon. Bye for now.